Hello everybody and welcome back to War Thunder Mobile. Instead of playing the game today, we're looking at War Thunder Mobile's 1-star reviews. Let's get right into it. First up, we have this one that says cannot start the progress. Keeping notice to update, but there is no any new updates is what this person has wrote. Yes, this happens a lot. I know I've seen this happen to many people. There are various other reviews that I've seen from other people also having this issue. I can tell you guys right now, normally this is a network issue. Personally for me, if I'm trying to open the game and I'm at some type of establishment or business, sometimes it just won't open and it'll say that I need to update even though I already have the game up to date. Now, it's just a problem with the network. Some networks don't allow you to play the game, and when they don't, it says that the game has an update ready. So, depending on where you try to download the game from, that's probably what it's going to be. So, just wait until you're probably at your home or some other network, and that'll probably allow you to use it. Next, this person said, awesome. Hit anywhere on the enemy tanks and it's destroyed. You can shoot around corners and through solid objects. No skill involved. Now, I don't agree with this no skill involved part. There's definitely some skill involved, but to go back to what you said here, you can shoot around corners. You can shoot over corners if your shells have some drop, like over smaller objects or obstacles, and the shells will drop down onto the enemy. That is true. And through solid objects, it does depend. Like on cargo port, there are some cargo containers that you can shoot through, and yeah, generally that is true. Also, your statement saying hit anywhere on enemy tanks and it's destroyed, that's not true. You can't just shoot anywhere, and it's not always going to be a confirmed kill unless you're using like high explosive and it's against a light vehicle. Then most of the time it's a guaranteed kill. There is definitely skill involved though, and you are somewhat exaggerating some of your points, but some of this actually does have a bit of truth to it. This next one says, balance. I love fighting people that has levels way higher than others, also against premium tanks. This is an interesting way to put it, because there are some instances where I've seen people be like, I'm using a, I don't know, level 10 tank, and that's campaign level, not rank. And they're like, and I'm going up against level 14. Well, yes, but it is rank based, so you're not going to be going up against anything too ridiculously high. Everything in the rank above you, you should have a somewhat ability to destroy, unless you're using like a light vehicle and you're going up against a heavy tank, which, makes sense. But you could also be stating about how sometimes we'll have high level players, like high progressing players. So their account level's at like 21 and they're going down to play at rank 1 against new players. Now that is completely understandable. I feel like Gaijin does need to work on that a little bit, where the newer players have more of a buffer time between going up against players that have already been playing the game for quite some time, but we'll have to wait and see if that gets implemented or not. Next, this poor dude, whose name is The Poor Dude, said, bro, add the protection analysis because this is annoying. Funnily enough, this comment was written after the protection analysis was already added, which was the 3rd of July, and this came out on the 11th of July of this year. So, it was already in game. I don't know why he was complaining about it, maybe because he didn't find out how to look at it, and he thinks it wasn't in game yet. That was probably it. In any other case, could be anything else. This person said, hello, add team killing, and it's 5 stars. Now, I've definitely heard this from some other players on the Discord where they think that War Thunder Mobile needs the ability to team kill, because there are just some times when your allies are not doing the work they should. If they are not helping and they're getting in the way and stuff like that, of course you should probably report them if it is that serious. If not, I don't think team killing should be in game, because there are plenty of instances where someone makes a small mistake and then someone else could blow up in their face about it. Like you accidentally, when you're starting at the beginning of a match trying to go in one direction and then someone rams you in the side, there's a decent chance that they don't intend to, especially when the spawning is so cramped together. So, in my opinion, I don't think we should have it added. In others' opinion, it should be. Next one says, no, just no. Worst game I have ever played, ever. Now, I feel like this person either, one, has barely played any sort of video games online, or 2, they just have a serious amount of skill issue, because there's no way that this game is really that bad. I know plenty of other games out there that I'm not going to mention because I don't want to have problems with them, that I feel are far worse than War Thunder Mobile, but this one guy or woman, I don't know, their username is it's very difficult to tell which, doesn't agree with that. Now, is this constructive feedback at all? No. You're just writing this because you had something terrible happen. I can assure you, this person probably got killed at the beginning of a match, like maybe less than a minute into it, when they thought their tank was supposed to be invincible, perhaps a tiger. So that's why, maybe. Other than that, there's no real explanation for why this person is so upset. So we're going to have to go with this information and hope that's what they mean. Maybe they'll add more context clues if they see this video. Next, bad game full of Chinese no-life players and bots. Also, the M4 challenge is trash, 0 out of 10 rating. I find it funny that this person claims the game is full of bots while they have the word bot in their username. Anyway, they go on to say, worst game ever, just made to make a quick buck off their Chinese player base and people wanting to do the M4 challenge. Anyone who likes this either can't afford a PC or console to play the real War Thunder, or they have major brain damage. Me, myself, I do have a console that I play War Thunder on, and I'll post it in my shorts, my YouTube shorts sometimes. But I don't see why not having a console would make people feel like they have to play War Thunder Mobile, if that's what you're insinuating. Not to mention, I mean, the game's free anyway. To go back to the Chinese no-life players, I think that you say a very racist thing here. And I'm probably not the only one that thinks that. There are probably a bunch of other people that saw that and think, why are you being racist? But there could be a bunch of players that do agree with this, because they're like, oh yeah, every time I see a player who's playing really well, he has a Chinese username. That just means that they're good at the game, and they have experience. You can get that too. It's not like because they have a Chinese username, they have experience. They choose to put in the work. You don't. And that's why you're having a skill issue here. It's because you're not putting in the work to be as good as they are. Now, anyone can do that so long as they put in enough practice. I'd say I'm pretty decent at the game. Sure, the background gameplay may not show it. The other videos I do may not show it. But I do put in the work. I do. And we all do, I'm sure. And let's go with the M4 challenge. People wanting to do the M4 challenge. It's saying so they're splitting the player base between these two, being either people that want to do the M4 challenge just because they came from console or PC, which goes against your other point of them only playing it because they don't have a console or a PC, and then adding on the whole Chinese player base. This is just a messed up comment. I don't feel like this person even knows what they're really talking about. We're gonna just disregard this and move on. True garbage. In the battle pass, I spend 150 golden eagles for nothing. It said I would get 250 war bonds, and I get nothing. Complete garbage. I have had this happen to me a few times. Normally it's because of an internet connection issue where you can click it, the processing will go through. You just have to wait a minute or two if your Wi-Fi is being slow, or make sure that you are connected to your Wi-Fi. However, I don't feel like that minor connection issue should allow you to then go out of your way to write an entire review about why you don't like the game. That's just messed up. Because it's not the game's fault that your internet's bad. Anyway, this is not on War Thunder Mobile for this issue. I'm fairly certain about that. Next, there's a bug in my platoon where my tank won't reload. This is actually a somewhat good review. In some tanks in my platoon, the tank will not reload. The reloading mechanism is bugged. People have reported it over a year, but I guess Gaijin doesn't care. 1. Gaijin definitely cares about this. 2. You didn't specify what platoon or what tank won't reload. It would help a whole lot more for the developers to try to fix it if you could just do that. 3. You don't have to write a review about this. There are sections, there are websites where you can go and report this to the development team. So if you just did that instead, they could get it fixed sooner. This could also be a connection issue because I have had this happen to me before. But then again, I don't assume you thought that whole way through, because if you did, you would have done it. Next, no more nick frames. Remove nick frames. I almost got M4, A3, E2, or PZH 2000 or mouse and got a stupid nick frame 0 stars, make it the collector's trophy, all tanks, and make it all tanks for gold and platinum only. This person is clearly upset because they did one of the, I think, historical trophies, or whatever the new name for it is. They rolled and they got a nick frame, fully assuming that they were going to get a platoon. If you actually looked at the statistics, which you can do by going into that and pressing and holding on the platoons, it'll give you the exact percentage rate of how likely you are to get it. You'll see that it is a decent amount more likely that you're going to get a nick frame. So this isn't really that surprising, but of course people are going to get really upset at smaller minor things like this. It's just going to happen anyway, but it shouldn't make this person go all the way out of their way to write a 1-star review, I don't think. Next, make it better. Need to make it better for beginners. Play 10 games, still no wins, and seems like it's all versus AI. This is a very complicated review, like more than it seems on the surface, and I'm going to tell you guys why. I do agree that for the first 10 battles, there should be a little bit more, like we mentioned earlier, how the higher leveled players can go up against the new players, and that is a problem. The thing is, it's only your first 2 or 3 battles that are actually like fully against AI. So to say 10 games and still no wins, that means not only did you not win against the robots that you started out with, which that's got to be a serious skill issue if you can't even beat the tutorial bots, you're going and having problems against real players, and that actually does make some sense. But also saying that it seems like it's AI, if you are being beat by the AI like that, to the point that you can't properly complete the tutorial, then I'm sure it's going to seem like, oh yeah, the higher level players just are more advanced AI, because you can't cope with the fact that you can't beat the tutorial bots. This is a major case of skill issue. A little bit of practice, maybe tweak with the settings some, and you can get this to be worked out. Next, this person says, spend money and you'll like it. Shot a plane with 600 rounds and he doesn't die. This sounds like you're having a skill issue, because there are very few planes that could realistically withstand that much ammunition. It could have been a more heavily armored plane, like maybe an IL-2. It could have probably been a lighter vehicle that they were using to fire at it. Assuming that they were doing this in the airplane mode, they could have been using a very small caliber gun on the airplane, maybe. But there's also the possibility that they were playing in ground battles and they were trying to shoot at the lead indicator, and maybe they weren't calculating the drop that they needed to, or they weren't aiming where they were supposed to. Like, they took the lead indicator as more of like, you have to shoot here, and then instead of like a rough area to shoot at. So this one's also somewhat complicated. We can't really get a whole lot of information out of this, but we can just assume that this person wasn't aiming exactly where they were supposed to, because if you actually fire 600 rounds in a somewhat short period of time at a plane, it is very likely that 1 or 2 of those shots are actually going to hit. Next, this person said, bad, bad, bad. The controls on this are plain awful garbage. The controls on this are plain garbage. Sorry, that's the truth. Just awful. Especially warplanes, just junk. Oh my, the tank controls are as stupid as the planes. Just bad, bad, bad. Cowards won't even accept my review. That says it all. Exclamation, 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 etc. This person has clearly not ever even considered messing with like sensitivity or anything. There are these separate settings to fix that, but this person has in no possible way gone out of their way to actually work on that and fix it very clearly. So, after you go and try to tweak your settings to fix it, I'll consider your review. Until then, this is a skill issue. Because why don't you ever even consider like adjusting sensitivity? I don't know. Next. This person says, completely unrealistic. Don't waste your time, takes forever to level up in the weakest units, one shot. This is probably someone who expected, 1, their tank to be invincible, and 2, they thought that this game was supposed to be like a war simulator, basically. First off, War Thunder Mobile is not by any means a war simulator. It is a more realistic than other games that are in the mobile gaming market. More competitive in that way, realistic tank game. It is not a simulator. The weakest units, as this one person claims, can one-shot you because they know where to shoot. You, on the other hand, do not know that you have weak spots there and therefore are ultimately shocked when they do manage to penetrate in those areas. I feel sorry for you, and I hope you can do a little bit of time to learn about the weak spots of your tank so that you know not to show them off so much. Next, fun game. This game is super fun. Love that it's like the PC version. However, I just wish there was a practice mode like in the PC version. I love it because the way I get to know my plane or tank or ship can do. This is a somewhat fair review. I mean, if you really do enjoy the game that much, I would recommend writing a 4-star review if you want something tweaked and not a 1-star review, because that's really critical and you're bringing down the game for something that isn't major at all. But I can completely understand the want for a practice mode or custom matches, stuff like that, which I do too hope that they get implemented eventually. Next, update bug. Game keeps telling me to update to the most recent version. Like I said, we mentioned this earlier. A bunch of people have this issue. This person also has an update issue, but they added the fact that they're 11. Buddy, that's completely unnecessary to add, plus, like, now we know you're a child, so, like, okay. This person says, this game is trash. Nothing but tryhards and cheaters on this game. I'm deleting it. This is probably one of the most skill issue heavy players I have ever seen in my life, calling every single other players cheaters and tryhards, which probably just goes to show that they believe even the bots are hacking, which is absolutely crazy. Next, this person has the inability to log in, which they need to update. This person says that it deleted their progress. My brother loves this game until he signed in and it deleted all his progress. I do recommend linking your accounts before you start any major progress, because then there's a small chance you may run into this issue. But if I remember correctly, there was a way to recover any of this information that you have lost. But to avoid this, I do recommend completely make sure that you are logged in if you are beginning the game before you start making any serious progress. This person just said it's trash, which is completely destructive criticism. There's zero helpful information in this, and this person is probably the largest case of skill issue known to man, but of course there's no other data to analyze, so we're going to have to continue anyway. Very fun game. Super fun game. It's such a breath of fresh air to play. Developers obviously work very hard in this game. Much appreciated for the very honest and very helpful review. I just have to recommend that if you're going to write a review like this, you don't make it 1 star, because then it's going to stumble into this type of video, and it's going to be funny, but it's not. If we want to actually push the game to make it look better, you got to, make a 5-star review. Anyway, this person said people still play this. Remind me to never play this again. Again, this person probably has a bunch of skill issue. They ran into some situation where they couldn't believe their eyes when their invincible tank got obliterated by a light vehicle, or overpressure, which I believe that's probably a decent chunk of why some people were upset, is that they got overpressured and they just, it's not realistic, even though that is the most realistic thing. But, these World of Tank Blitz players wouldn't really understand all of that, I guess. Will not update. More people with the update problems. Not good. Can't change to aircraft when I start the game. This is actually a fair one. I know a bunch of people that started playing War Thunder Mobile because they thought that the airplane or aviation mode is really interesting. But, of course, you're thrown into the... at first, you're thrown into the ground campaigns, and not everyone wants to do the ground campaigns. So it's fair that this review exists. I accept it and I respect it, though I don't feel like it should be a 1 star. I feel like this should be more of a 3 or 4 star, but that's beside the point. Next, how? Downloaded to play with my friend and am clueless. Buddy, if you download to play with your friend, that perfectly makes sense. However, you being clueless is probably the fact that you might have tried to skip through the tutorial and you didn't pay attention to the fact that damage was modular, and you have to hit cruise or, specific components inside the tank to destroy it, and that might have made it so that's why you're confused. If you have to, there's an option to redo the tutorial, but I'm assuming you didn't do that, and you probably deleted the game already. Pay to even play at all. This is not an actual game. You won't last 1 minute, hit the enemy 10 times, but no damage. Another case of skill issue, you don't know where to aim. I'd recommend learning, or maybe just trying to use a tank with more powerful weaponry, because for some people that's all it takes, because they use not as powerful tanks, and then they don't choose to aim at weak spots, and then they complain. I'd recommend trying to get a tank that has more firepower, and then you'll see that it is much easier to destroy targets. War Thunder. I wouldn't recommend playing this game if you want to be stressed out. So if you don't want them to be stressed out, you would recommend this game, because that's like the inverse of what you're saying. Essentially, you just said that War Thunder is a game that doesn't stress people, and I find that interesting, but respectable. Yeah, I mean, personally, it doesn't stress me out a lot, so yeah, fine. It's a confusing review because I don't think that's what you intend to say, but that's what you said, so we're gonna go with it. Roblox Cursed Tank Simulator is great, better than War Thunder Mobile. Always defeat, always lost game, no victory, no wins. Angry, angry. Well, you're probably not winning because you're not helping your team. If you believe this game should be exactly like the Roblox one, then I don't think you've really played War Thunder the way you're supposed to. You probably didn't go for the right capture points. Or maybe it's the fact that you probably don't know the map layout, and because of that you're going into very open spaces expecting to not get killed, and then you're getting killed almost instantly. If so, that's on you. No protection analysis. Yeah, at the time when this person wrote that, there wasn't a protection analysis, but we have it now, so yeah. Wi-Fi. Fix Wi-Fi and how much research you get and need for the next vehicle. This is a 2-part review. The first part, the fix Wi-Fi. I feel like if you're having internet connection issues, it's probably on you. If you want to check if other people are having it, you can go to the War Thunder Mobile Discord and ask. There are some times when people agree that they're also having connection issues, but besides that, there's just a chance that it's only you that are actually having these connection issues. So that could be your Wi-Fi, and I don't see why you're asking Gaijin to fit your home Wi-Fi network. How much research you get and need for the next vehicle. That does change depending on the rank you're going up against and fighting. At higher ranks, you do need more research points. If you are completely fed up with it, you can speed it up with gold. And you kind of just have to accept the fact that that's how War Thunder is. War Thunder and War Thunder Mobile are really heavy in their grind for the next thing. So it's something that all of us other players have more or less gotten used to, and you kind of just have to get used to it too if you want to continue playing the game. Why does my reviews not go through? Can't find the one. Why do you write a review then you don't post any of the reviews? Not a one that I've ever written. Unbelievable. Well, you've made it to this video, so you probably have a bunch of other people seeing the review now. You may feel like that when you write a review, for whatever reason, it doesn't go through. I assure you it does go through. Just if you have any like obscene amount of swear words or anything, it might be automatically deleted by some sort of automated mod system, but besides that, most of them do go through. Trash. Scam trash. Not even good physics, not even good graphics, not even pretty much Roblox Warzone, and everything else is better except this trash. I don't think you've ever played War Thunder PC or console in the slightest if you're thinking that this game's like supposedly the gameplay is terrible. Good physics. The physics are fine. I don't know why you're so upset about that. I mean, it makes sense if you're used to Roblox physics, because those are very, very different, and you want it to be like Roblox physics. It's not going to be like Roblox physics. And the whole good graphics, not good graphics. The graphics are pretty good. If you turn up your settings, the game does get pretty beautiful looking. But if you can't run that and it overheats your phone, then I totally see why you drop your settings. But then again, that's your device thing, but it also makes sense that's why you play Roblox, because your phone can't exactly handle higher graphic settings for more advanced games like maybe War Thunder Mobile. I don't believe that everything else is better except this. Like I said earlier, there are a bunch of games that are not as good as War Thunder, and there are definitely a bunch of Roblox games that aren't nearly as good, but that's beside the point. Good game. It feels so nice and real. I'm glad you appreciate the game, but again, if you're going to say something like this, I'd rather you did a 5-star review, and I'm sure the rest of the community would be happier if you did as well. Nothing comes close. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the single worst experience I've ever had on my phone, and that's counting the time I was broken up over text. I find this personally to be extremely hilarious, that they're saying this is worse than their breakup, but, people are going to be saying whatever just to hype up what they want to hear from others. Currently it's raining and I'm outside, so I don't know how much longer I'll be out here, but yeah, let's continue. Don't remove my review! Far better mobile jet fighter games. Game is hot garbage and needs work. Only thing that's amazing is the 3 different campaigns. Which is funny because that's like the main thing that there is. There are 3 different campaigns and you get to choose what you want to play. It is fair that you say that there are quote-unquote better mobile jet fighter games. There are more of them, yes. There are other jet fighter games, yes. But I don't personally believe that they're better. War Thunder Mobile is going to be introducing jets sometime this year, if the devs have stated correctly what they've said multiple times before. So you could be looking forward to that if you want to. If not, then you're going to just have to accept the fact that we don't have them yet, but we will soon. The game is not hot garbage and it is really well built. Of course, if you are used to playing games like that where it is not modular, because all of the other jet fighter games I've played on mobile are not modular based, they are health based, then if you're used to that and you wanted that experience for War Thunder Mobile, of course you're not going to be appreciating it so much. But yeah, kind of just have to get used to the modular system of damage, and you should probably appreciate the game more after that. No sound, no audio even after deleting and reinstalling. Now, I know exactly why this has happened because I have had this quote-unquote issue for the longest period of time. It isn't actually an issue, it's not a bug. Normally, when you're having this issue happen, unless it is a very rare circumstance where this is actually caused by something else, for me, it's been that if you turn the phone on silent mode, which, iPhones have, where you switch it from, having like an audible notification sound to being just like the phone vibrating, if that mode is on, the game will not be producing audio unless you plug in something like headphones or maybe Bluetooth. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't tested that in a long time. If you're not doing that, you're not going to have audio. So you might have to switch your ringer back on or fix that if you want to have the audio, but that's probably most likely the issue that you're having. This person says, I like it, amazing game. Much appreciated. Now, we've already mentioned why I feel like this should be a 5-star review, not a 1-star review. Let's move on. Disappointed. I thought it would be easier way to play the PC version, but I guess I was mistaken because no jets in air. This is a somewhat fair review that the developers have mentioned stuff like this. This is actually a fairly decent review that This is actually a review that the developers have mentioned before. The War Thunder Mobile is not a direct way to play the PC and console version. They are 2 separate games, though they do follow the same ideology and philosophy in gameplay and mechanics. So no, you're not going to be able to progress on War Thunder console or PC by playing mobile, but it is a separate game. When you hit miss, hi. This is a very interesting review because he's saying that when you hit a vehicle, it says you missed it, which doesn't even make any sense, and there's no other context for this, so we're going to have to move on. Fix your game. Every Russian vehicle needs to be moved up, at least a full battle rating. I feel like this person's trying to feed into the Russian bias. The 2S-38 should not be able to face Cold War tanks, and when it wasn't even real and never got APFSDS. So I did a little bit of research on this because I thought that this claim was really weird. Turns out the 2S-38 is actually a real tank. And turns out it also does fire APFSDS. So both of your accounts there for what you're claiming are incorrect. And also saying that every Russian vehicle needs to be moved up at least a full BR. I take back what I said earlier about trying to add to Russian bias. You're trying to actually worsen the tanks because you're moving them up. Very interesting idea of your idea of balance, but you may think that would help. I don't think that's necessarily true. There are a few cases where it should be moved up, like maybe Object 122 would fit a little bit better at rank 8, but maybe not, Anyway, let's move on. The game is bad. This game took my stuff and I not so much thing. This review does not make any sense whatsoever. What do you mean the game took your stuff and you not so much thing? What are you insinuating here? If you mean like they took your money because you paid for something, you can get a refund. There are ways to do that if that's your main concern. Anyway, let's move on. It doesn't work. Can't link account from PlayStation. This goes back into the point of the War Thunder Mobile being a separate game, but we don't have to re-explain that. Move on. Don't cheat players. Don't cheat players. Now, I feel like this review could have two possible meanings. One, they're telling other players not to cheat, which completely fair. If you don't want people to cheat, just tell them don't cheat. Two, if you're talking to Gaijin, telling them that maybe something's too expensive or maybe there's a gameplay mechanic you don't agree with, and telling them that it's cheating the players by doing their way that they're running in the game in some way. But we can't tell for sure. We're going to have to move on. Can't log in with Steam account. Why can you log in with a Facebook account but not Steam? Again, it's a separate game than War Thunder console and PC. Once you realize that, you will probably appreciate the game a little bit more, and maybe not. Maybe you'll appreciate the game less because you expected to grind your PC account, but we'll see. Bad. Can't the plane. And I really cannot say that word, so I have it blurred. I don't think there should be any game where you're allowed to do that, and I don't see why you're angry at Gaijin for not allowing you to do that, because I can't imagine that being that heavy of a, willingness. Why would you want to, But, yeah, sure, if you feel like that's such an issue that you want to leave a 1-star review about it, even though it's a terrible review, yeah, you can go ahead and say that, I guess. Fix the game. The worst game I ever played because it doesn't make any sense. Again, this is probably someone who just skipped through the tutorial. If you're having issues with aiming and stuff, you might want to fix your sensitivity. Besides that, there are a ton of videos on YouTube about other people playing the game. If you want to see more of like how to do certain tactics, I know that there are some YouTubers who show off certain platoons if you want more of a general idea for that, myself included. But yeah, that's just how I feel about that. 1 star, too hard. This is best case of skill issue. This is very direct, very honest person saying that they can't play the game well. I appreciate the honesty, and yeah, I'm gonna appreciate and respect your review for that. Let's move on. Please listen and read this. Don't download the game, it's full of bots. The reason for this is because if you shoot a tank in a weak spot like an ammo depot, which if you shoot it, it will one-shot an enemy, but once you shoot the tank, it will not die. If they shoot you, you instantly will die. Please don't download the game. It's a scam, not worth buying nor playing the game at all. Salty Lightning, I believe you stole your name from that one Parker Games episode, or Parker Plays episode, so interesting, unoriginal name there. It is not full of bots, as you have claimed it to be. And if you do shoot an ammo rack, and there's a chance that if you shoot an ammo rack, it's not going to fully damage ammunition. For example, if you're using something like the Valentine and you shoot an ammo rack, there is a chance that it just lightly yellows or maybe oranges the ammunition. But it can and definitely will explode if you hit it enough times. And then you're saying that basically if they shoot you, you instantly die because they know how to play the game, where to aim, and probably have a better choice in ammunition. That is just kind of how it goes. If you don't know where to aim, you're going to suffer the consequences. The update does not work. There's no Spitfire. This person was clearly pretty upset with the whole fact that we got no Spitfire in the game yet for the aviation tree. But it is coming eventually. As far as I remember, the devs have stated that the next air branch, that should be probably British, is going to be coming at the earlier part of next year, so we have that to look forward to. Worst game ever, it was too hard, I don't like it. Again, skill issue. This might be a World of Tanks Blitz player. No reason why I would possibly believe that, wink wink, but Maybe this person expected to aim at some place where there was little to no components on the inside and they thought it would completely destroy the tank. Like maybe the back corner of a Panzer IV with like a high penetrating round that doesn't have much filler, and they thought that hitting there would absolutely obliterate the tank, but I guess it didn't. I used to be happy before this game. Bro, I was chilling in my Tiger H1 and all of a sudden someone flies over me with a freaking mouse and one-shots me. Like, what the heck, Gaijin? I'm gonna ruin your fun a little bit here. Mouses can't fly. So I don't know where you even got that idea from. Two, if you're just playing the Tiger H1, there's no possible way for you to be going up against a mouse unless you have a squad mate that is in a much higher rank vehicle, like maybe a rank 6 or a rank 7 vehicle, maybe even a rank 8. That's the only possible way you can get a Tiger to go up against a mouse. Even then, the mouse is not gonna fly. So I don't see why you're making up stuff like that to make a 1-star review, but people are gonna lie on the internet, I guess. Serious? Poor network, poor match. Yes! If you have a bad internet connection, the match is not going to be easy to play. Now, this isn't on Gaijin if your network chooses to not work properly. That's your internet issue, not them. So I don't see why you're blaming them for something completely out of their control. Anyway, let's move on. Great game, bud. Please put some new jets in the game. We are tired of the World War II planes. Completely understandable. People have been waiting for a very long time for the jets to be added to the game for the aviation tech trees, and we still don't have them. However, this review was written in January 1st. However, this review was written in January 21st, and we did have a dev blog announcement about getting jets this year. So why they're super upset that the jets aren't already in game, even though it had only been about 25 days since that announcement was out, because I think it came out December 31st, is crazy, but, you know, people are impatient, so that's what we're going to get. Read me. For the people who only check the bad reviews, I really do recommend this game. Great game, 10 out of 5. Fallout 65, I appreciate you, because you're looking out for people like me, and other people who are only looking for 1-star reviews. Bad luck. I have too much bad luck in this world. Okay? Well, I don't exactly see how that equivalates to gameplay, because that just sounds like skill issue. But, you know, not every player is going to be great at the game when they first start out. It just takes practice. And I feel like because this review goes all the way back into December, we should probably stop here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more 1-star reviews from perhaps the Google Play Store or something like that, let me know in the comments down below, and I may get around to doing that eventually. See you guys in the next one.